take the look. You can't see nothing. There's nothing you can do. Too much. All right? I'll make this very quick. This is a fire escape we took off at a school, and we use this on a lot of my classes. When it's 6 hours, I'll bring Rusty, and that's a piece of a fire escape system. And what I did to this fire escape, that basically used to be 4 feet wide, used to feed kids to a recess yard all the time. I kept pieces of it, and I basically shrunk it so it's only 2 feet wide, and I did everything wrong to it. So like I said, I have a master's degree in reverse stupidity. So I did everything wrong to use that as a model here to show you what's the wrong things to do with a fire escape. That includes welding. Welding, can I do it because of the EPA? No. $37,000 fine? Yes. Welds are frozen, and will it let the fire escape move around in the cold and the heat? No. That's why they bolt all fire escapes. All fire escapes are bolted for a reason, because they move around. As soon as you freeze it, they start trying to do this, they rip all the welds. Welds snap, bolts stretch. And here's what guys do when they come to fix your fire escape. They weld the rust in place. This is all you do. You either weld it from the top. Well, oh, by the way, they get a fire permit to weld on these old structures? Of course they don't. Question? No?
Yeah, I wanted to go back real quick to connection into the building. What was your remedy, because you can't really make a good inspection and see, the inspection is very disruptive to really see what you need to see. So you're saying that add a secondary bolt.
Correct. So on that fire escape that collapsed, had they inspected it 6 months before that, and there was an intention to inspect or load test it, that load test would have collapsed that fire escape.
Okay.
But prior to that, with a proper inspection, somebody says, I'm not going to load test thing. I can see rust jacking. I can see the whole unit there spalling. I mean, it was very, very evident. So you don't load test things that are clearly suspect.
Okay, and what's the best way to do it? I realize that without seeing it, what kind of repairs or remedy that's in the building? Where it's not visible, from the outside, you
Oh,
can
it's
see
good. I will show you that you look at any good fire escape, everything is super tight. Anything that's rust jacking, it's as clear as day. The bulge, the deflection, the warpage. In the masonry. Tears from above. You can see the push out. I inspected that whole structure and the remaining parts of the structure, and the remaining parts of the structure were ready to fall. And I was there when they threw some leg on it. Some welding guy came out and just welded this long leg all the way up to the thing into the alleyway, and they just welded these clips that kind of hold it different now. I got to investigate the whole entire thing. But at the same time, I also got to look by mistake at some of the autopsy, photos of. I got sent the. It's horrible what happened there. But like anything else, I offer you my services again. It was free. I'm here playing this thing for free. You know what I'm saying? This is the National Fire Escape Association does these classes for free. We've been doing it for 10 years. All I have to do is just save one life, and I've done my job. I'm in the fire escape business, but what's the biggest problem with the fire escape business? Nobody knows that you're supposed to be doing it. So I started the National Fire Escape Association. I give free classes. And what's the main thing I get? I get one of you to do something about it. That's all it needs. And then it starts, it's grass, it's organic, you can't save the world, but I can save one. And every fire escape that I've done, I can tell you I've saved one fire. Every class I've ever done nationwide, I've saved one fire. Because usually it's the firemen that get all pissed off and start beating you guys in the head in the building department because you guys don't get hurt on fire escapes. Firemen do, tenants do, and sometimes firemen holding tenants get hurt on these things. So let's get into it. I want to go right into this is what the piece looked like. This is when I shortened it. I did everything wrong to it. I welded the lead paint. I did everything wrong just to prove it and use it in class. Here's where it was at this elementary school. Little kids used it every day. And then we replaced it with this new one. Who brought me there? Was it the fire department on their annual inspections? No. Was it the building department on their annual inspections? No. Was it the maintenance guy that said, dude, it's Christmas time, you got 10 days, get this thing out of here, put a new one? The maintenance guy said, dude, this shouldn't be here. And the president of the college came to see me? No. The maintenance guy said, dude, get this out of here. All right, let's go right into the confidence test. All right, grab it. I'm going to have to give you I got 10 minutes. Let's open up for a few questions, then I'm just going to really fly through the questions, and you'll understand why the questions are there. Got it? Any questions? Nothing? All right, page 1. Now, we did an inspection on Easton. We asked Easton if we could use this as a model. So we basically, this is what, if you want this, we can make this up for you, or we can give you the PDF or the file, which is the Word document file. You can make this up yourself. Change some words, change some questions. But basically, at the very top, we put your town, your information, and who's in charge, who they should be reaching out to. The next thing is, I want to know the address of the building. I want to know who owns the building. I want to know who manages the building, because sometimes it's 2 different people. See that box in the middle? You're supposed to draw a square or a rectangle with a smaller square or rectangle indicating what's the front of the, where the fire escape is. Is it on the back, the side? Is that going to be important information for you? We want to know the design professional, others acceptable to the building official. So all the licenses and information and expiration dates are on that fold, on that piece. The next one is, if this is a certification, I want to know who the repair guy was. I want his information on this, along with his license number and the permit number. Fill in all the blanks, otherwise it's incomplete, right? Now, if this is an initial inspection, what do I gotta ask? This document, is it a pass-fail, or is it a fail report with attached document? So don't forget, every time we go there for the very first time, it's a pass-fail. It is not a report for repairs, it's a pass-fail. Next question, to the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, the following statements are true, down below. I walked the fire escape, which is A, or B, I looked at it from the ground because I wouldn't get on it if my life depended on it. Understand the 2 questions? That way you'll know what would happen. The next one, the fire escape passed or failed. And more importantly for the fire department, what's the next one? Any life safety issues that requires you to go down. I'm licensed in Reg 4 in LA. You know what happens when I find a life safety issue? I'm not allowed by my license to leave the scene. I have to call the closest fire station, get a captain on there, and he comes down, woo, and I can't leave until, otherwise I forfeit my license. I can't leave until the captain says, yeah, we got this. And he'll talk to the owner and say, treads are dangling, things are falling, whatever, and they'll determine whether the building gets evacuated or not. That's LA, okay? All right, the 4 questions. If the fire escape is going to be load tested by, I load tested the fire escape, that's if it's a pass, for example. I load tested it. The second one is I certified it with other evidence of strength, a full refurb or partial refurb with a load test. The third one is I certified with an opinion affidavit. It's still here. I can't get rid of it. See the opinion affidavit? What's it say right after that, though? With a disclaimer of liability. Back to who? To the owner of the building, and who else? Back to you guys, because I want you guys to get the best lawyers to defend me when I go to court. Because you didn't let me load test, and you didn't let me do other evidence of strength. You took the golden parachute route. So it's still there. And then the last one, which is the most common, is the inspection determined that the fire escape failed and it's not structurally sound and it has not been kept painted. Got it? I declare underneath, I got to sign, I got to leave my license number, and the building official's got to accept my document. Pass or fail, because the law says I must submit a report to the city official, pass or fail. When's the last time somebody here got a failed document in there? You never get the fails. Nobody knows they exist. Well, the code said I was supposed to submit a report. All fire protection equipment on the fire department rule. If the sprinkler system is out, you have to get, by law says you have to get a copy of that immediately. And will you let the building occupy if the fire sprinkler system is all shot and gone? Unless they make arrangements with you to, fire watch or something else. There has to be an arrangement. Otherwise, the fire department, so you want some help? There's a problem with the fire escape? Call your buddies. There's a life safety issue, or something's out of whack, they can close the building down much faster than you can, because it's life safety. Got it? Next page. This is the 25 questions. At the very top, one of the little gray box, it says there, this document expires 30 days from delivery. Why do I have a 30-day expiration? You know how many people use this document to hold me up, hold you guys up in court, or say I'm on it, that company is not doing their job, and this is, if you want to re-examine your fire escape every 30 days, go ahead. But this document after 30 days expires. The checkbox up there, just an overall, simple one, guys. It just repeats itself. Life safety, yes, no. But the checkbox is overall. The treads, the stringers, the rails, the structure, the cement, the paint, the grading, the ladder, the cantilevers, and the catwalks. overall, just a general checkbox. You fair, good, excellent. But now let's talk about the questions. Number one, I'm going to rapid fire. All fabrication, installation, and maintenance of the fire escape is to code and met industry standards on the date of installation. That means I have to pass this fire escape. Now in today's code, I have to say that this fire escape looks like it was built by a factory back in the day, and it met code because this fire escape looks like that fire escape, looks like that fire escape. But as soon as I get a fire escape that's homemade, what do I say here? And this is always a yes answer to the question. Yes, this is a standard fire escape, or no, this is a homemade. Subject to whose decision? Well, that's number two. There is no pre-existing non-conforming issues requiring AHJ notification or approval. As soon as I get a homemade, who am I going to talk to? I'll talk to you guys, because this thing came up in the middle of the night, somebody put it up with a shoehorn, and guess what? Can you force them now to put a brand new one up there that meets today's code? Because they shoehorned in a homemade? You betcha. Question number three, all welds passed by visual observation, unless X-rayed or load tested, because I have a disclaimer on here, right? So I'm just going to visually tell you that the welds are pretty good, but what am I really saying? Because you got to let me X-ray them or load test them. Then I'll pass the welds. Otherwise, you got to give me a disclaimer. Number four, overall the fire escape system passes. Overall, the answer is yes or no, it didn't pass. And all these gray boxes are little notes that any engineer, any architect can make a little note. They don't need to write a big thing. They just, yes, no, give me a little bullet. Man versions. 5, footings and piers. The fire escape, there are only 3 ways to have a fire escape. Footings and piers. So this fire escape has no footings, no piers. Guess what? NA. Next question. Walls are attached system. Passed by visual observation. You know what this question is? This question is about the entire wall the fire escape is on. Not the connection to the wall. That's another question further down. They're saying, is this wall bulging? Is this wall showing any deflection? I want to know, because I'm not examining the wall, but I can give you an opinion as to whether or not that wall, that the entire fire escape system is kind of bulging out a little bit, or something's wrong, and that happens. We need to tell you on that question. Through bolts into the wood structure, pass. Or it's NA, meaning, so all wood structures, it has to have a through bolt. Not lag bolts, through bolts. That's when we would come in and say, nothing but lag bolts, there's no through bolts here. Platforms, this is the entire platform. Is it good? That's what this question is asking. The entire platform, not its supports, that's another question. The platform, whether it has slats, whether it has grading, whether it has cement, whether it has wood on it. Did it pass? Yes or no? Stair stringers. That's the outside. Treads is another question. The stringers, the top clips and the bottom clips. See if I'm missing anything here. Stair treads, plates, wood, slabs of cement. Now on the treads inside the stringer. Railing. Railings everywhere. Railings on the platform, railings on the stairs. There's a railing question. Are all the railings good? If they're not the code, that's another question up at the top that we said, hey, it's single line rails made of plumbing pipe or electrical pipe. Next page. Ladders to the roof. Very important for the firemen. Next question. Balance ladders. Right? And the release mechanism. Are they working? Next question. Cantilevers. Well, cantilevers and release ladders are 2 different animals. They get a separate question. So if there's no ladders, NA. If there's a cantilever or no cantilever, NA. Fixed ladders is one of the questions here. Catwalks. Oh my God, how many fire escapes are incomplete? You get out, you land on a roof, and the fire escape's in that corner over there. But nobody painted the roof to tell me that I have to go, that goes somewhere to an edge and I try to jump off. Why? Because there's no catwalk. The code is very clear. All fire escapes must be complete to grade and to a public way. Otherwise, it's not a fire protection system. It's an incomplete fire protection system. So all fire escapes land on a roof. You gotta capture those people like cattle, and you gotta do what? Feed them to a public way. First, you gotta get them all the way to the ground. So no ladders cut off at 9 feet, no jumping down. The code doesn't allow it. All fire escapes must be to grade, and then they must be to a public way. So if you have a chain around your gate, no. You have to have crash bars, single action requiring no special knowledge. All right, have I missed anything on this fire escape yet? We don't even know what fire escape this is, but are we catching so far every piece of a fire escape? All right, catwalks, all components, doors, windows, window guards. So now you're making me more or less see if the windows are all in operation. I don't have to open and close them. That's somebody else's job. I just have to look at this door looks okay, this window looks okay, there's no ACs in the windows, there's no window guards in the thing with locks rusted out. So I answer some of those specific questions for you guys that says that all the windows look pretty good and all the doors look pretty good. I answer all about the electrical power. You know how many times we have ACs and electrical power and you guys are blasting water on a fire escape and we create an electrocution situation? Fire escapes can't have any electrical on them, and if they're on them for whatever reason allowed, they must be insulated. Overall, the fire escape is not illuminated. Overall, the fire escape is not illuminated. Today, they got to be illuminated. But back in the day, it's not illuminated because it was acceptable by code. Do I force illumination on them? I can't. I'm not bringing it up to today's code. I'm saying this fire escape is not illuminated, and that was the norm back in the day. I certify back to the day. I don't certify to today. But if they screwed it up then, I can't certify today. There's no grandfather clause for crap.
But if they replace it, it's got to be brought up to the current.
Oh, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole new drawing. That's a whole new stair. That's not even 24 inches wide anymore. That's 36 inches wide, 7-11, yeah. Maybe a cap over because it's an egress, not really a fire escape. We're going to keep the snow off of it. Number 20, overall the fire escape system has no interior or exterior obstructions such as bikes. You guys are going to love this one. Bikes, plants, barbecues, cans, garbage. So we're going to help you write a violation of obstruction, because fire escapes must be structurally sound, must be kept painted, must be unobstructed. Question. So we bring all the code into one of these questions. Next one. Overall, the fire escape system has no storage of flammables or code-restricted items. Yeah, that's where I keep all my firewood is under my fire escape. Where I keep my lawnmower fully charged with gasoline, my propane tanks, that's why nothing flammable under a fire escape. Number 22, the fire escape is made of painted steel, galvanized steel, aluminum, wood, mix, or other. Which could include cement. You know how many fire escapes have cement introduced into the situation? 23, the fire escape system has been painted, stained, or weatherproofed in some way. Number 24, the owner has been notified about the EPA rules. No welding. No scraping and painting without EPA renovator's license. And guess what number 25 is? The catch-all. The catch-all that says, you have something so unique I've never seen it before. Such as, you guys ever seen a slidescape? A slidescape it's in Elizabeth, New Jersey, 12-story slidescape. One people, you shoot inside the building. Got it? So 25, what is that? Some weird thing. All right, I gotta keep going. I'm running a few minutes late. So it's 25 is the catch-all question. Got it? That's where I put anything. So if you got something weird, you know, they tie horses to your fire escape. Put that in here. That's what 25 is for. Got it? I keep all my manure, you know, underneath the fire escape. Some crazy thing. Look what's the steps to certification. Prepare a report by design professional, others acceptable. For permit if required, so you still have the if required permit process here. Permit by licensed vendor with EPA license. Progress in or final inspection by design professional or other. Submit as final certification of load test or other evidence of strength or opinion affidavit and repeat every 5 years. Is that what you want? That's just 3 pages. Let's go to the next page. The next page is not needed, but the next page is you. Okay? We basically called you for an examination. The engineer called you before the examination. Any special requirements he would write at the top. Yes, all fire escapes in our city must be painted red. Great. Let me write that down so I can submit that to the owner. You see all this other stuff here? That's all the codes. Every code is there and frequently asked questions. So when the owner says, oh, why this and why that, you say, well, just look at the code. We're following the IBC code. We're also following the IFC code. We're also following NFEA code. And we're also following the ICC technical code. It's all there. Right? So this is helpful for the client because they can't say, I didn't know this code existed. Well, it exists all across the board. Okay? Now go to the next page, please. The next page is your page. You tell us, we put your information on here. What does it say? If you have any questions, call the city official. And it tells you what's required. You just tell us what you require and we make this happen. And it basically, it's the process of certification. Hire an engineer, others acceptable, give me a repair report, pull or don't pull a permit, 3 visits, and upon completion, I want to do a final walkthrough with your structural engineer before I accept this document. All that double check system will fix fire escapes over the next 5 to 10 years, and these guys will start using it, especially when you put tags on it. How important is tags going to be on these fire escapes, yellow, reds, or whites? Well, your law already requires it, and nobody's doing it, even yourself. You're not doing it. So right now, you can just basically write a violation on every fire escape for not having proper signage. One goes, well, what kind of signage? We say, well, call the building department, they'll tell you what signage we want there. And I want to know when it was inspected, by who, and when does it, and when's the next reinspection date, which is 5 years later, as part of the IFC. But otherwise, we're going to have those tags. We all clear on this? This is your page. We ask you what you want to write, and when they start screaming, and they will because it's too much money, you know who we say to call? Call you. You guys are the bad guys. You guys are making them spend money that they haven't had to spend in 75 years. How dare you? And we've got that 50 grand earmarked for marble in the front foyer, and you guys are making us spend it on the fire escape. Bad guys. I want to speak on this last piece, but fire departments, you'll allow a sprinkler building not to have second means of egress? Remember that code? That's coming. That sort of makes its way up. Okay, so just be aware, even though sprinkler systems should be part of a fire, part of a building, plus 2 means of egress, in case something kills the water pressure, something breaks the water line, whatever may happen, because once you use that water line, you lose your second means of egress. A lot of people don't realize the insurance companies basically jack your rates when you don't have a second means of egress, and you have a sprinkler. So be careful of that. So sometimes this requirement where they say no fire escape is needed, just sprinkle in the building, it's an immediate cure, but then years later when they change the insurance company, they say, where's your second means of egress? Oh, the fire department says I can have sprinklers instead of a fire escape. And that guy's going to say, great, I'm going to go shut off the water supply. Can you now tell me? So you've just become a high-risk building if an event occurs. So we're going to charge you not $5,000 a year for your insurance. Now it's $15,000, and here's a 30-day notice to find somebody else to take you on. So don't always shoot for getting rid of the fire escape. I do agree that sprinklers should be in every building because you need somebody that's fighting the fire and getting half of the fire down by the time I get there. But fire escapes have been around for over 100 years, and they are bulletproof. They're made for people to self-evacuate. They're made for firemen to get into the building, and when all hell breaks loose, it's what the fireman uses as his golden parachute. Get the hell out of Dodge. Last one, this is the rat trap. Okay? This is either a cat trap or a mouse trap. So if you've got a vendor that won't fill this out and won't give you his licenses, won't give you his permit numbers, and will not follow, that's a rat. Otherwise, if somebody fills this out without any problems to submit for permit, that's a cat. Right? So this vendor sheet is for the vendor. So when you ask me about what can the client do, the client got all this today. And they got the video link, you can send the video link and the photos and all that stuff. So basically look at it. I need your basic information at the top. Who are you with all your licenses? And if you have the right workers' comp. Because a lot of these guys only have workers' comp up to the 2nd floor. Beyond that, they don't have high insurance. That's a different rate of insurance. The second part is the repair vendor. The first one is actually the repair vendor. The second one is the paint vendor and his references. What you're going to require to pull a license. Pull a permit. Business license, construction license, EPA renovated license, workers' comp, liability, and it tells you what it needs to be done. Down here, we've made it so simple so that in case the vendor is not getting cooperation from vendors, they can just basically put in a price for them. Just pencil it in at the bottom here so that at least they can get some bids. So this is like a fast-track bid process. This is not a contract. This can be a fast-track bid process. And then at the bottom, it has room here for the vendors and the building inspectors to sign, saying that that's a qualified guy. So you can still do a job without a permit, but he still fills out this form. So it's your choice whether you want to enforce a permit, because some work is minor. Minor work, change a bolt or two and paint it, well, you may not require a permit. Full rehab, full overhaul, full destruction into the building, because the engineer's report has to come to you for approval, it may or may not need a permit, and usually on full refurb, you need a permit. see the class. Questions? And I'm 9 minutes over, guys. Did I say too much, say too little, or cover every corner of the problem? Fire escape is the bastard child of egress. The answer is very simple. Checklist. Do not start a task force. Do not start chasing down all these fire escapes in these, because you'll get heat from the top. It's a checklist. Just please add it to your permit process. Firemen add it to sprinklers when they deliver a sprinkler system. Say, where's my? Just add as a checklist. I need a copy of the fire escape test. Smoke detectors, anything to deal with alarms, anything with the evacuation of the building. Where's my confidence test? So fire department, add a checklist. Building departments, in the permit process, in the re-inspection process, in the anything that's the yearly inspections. You guys do re-rents and re-COs when people buy and sell properties? You must have a safe structures initiative. And so that means that when they're selling the building must be a safe structure. Because I've had many people go to court 6 months later after finding out their fire escape is crap. And they'll chase it down the hill because that's errors and omissions. So if you have a safe structures initiative, that means before you let people sell their building, they have a safe structures initiative. And the only thing is, you have to have 2 means of egress in order for this thing to legally be bought and sold and to be bought and rented. And if it's not, you'll catch it in a checklist item. So don't go looking for fire escapes. They'll come and find you organically, one at a time. So if anything, just add it to any checklist that you've ever made, even if you put it in by pencil now and a year from now, they'll print it into it. Just add by pencil, fire escape affidavit. You're looking for a fire escape certification. You're not ordering one, you're asking for one. And then they go, huh? What? What do you say? Exactly. So and don't stop the gravy train, keep the process going. Give them what they need, their occupancy, whatever. But they've just given you another violation to write. And you give them 3 to 7 days, cure that, or 7 to 10 days to cure, and that's how you're going to get fire escapes back onto and get these guys to have confidence once we put the tag on it, right? The white tag, even though we say we certify them, will you feel a lot better when the tags are there? So that's already the law anyway. So if you check the fire code, and I just found this out, by the way, through the class I just held last week in Houston. He sent me the code, and what's right there in this code is all fire protection equipment must be tagged. I'm like, dude, it's right here. So sometimes I get the information handed to me that helps me pass it back. So check your code. All fire escape components and systems, all of them have to have a tag. And so the fire escape is the bastard child of egress. Guess what it doesn't have? Tags. Thank you for the class. I'll be here. If you want to give me your cards, give me your cards. I'll send you a bunch of these, links to all the classes. And Philadelphia, I'm offering myself one more time. Got it. Happy to help. Thanks, guys. Hope I ranked your brains.